Okay, welcome everyone to another Tuesday, another Tech 20 Tuesday, and a little bit of a schedule change, but I'm very happy to be able to present Scratch today. So I'm just going to get this PowerPoint out of the way and bring you to the Scratch page website. And as you can see here at the top, I'm logged in, or I'm at scratch.mit.edu, and I'm also, if you look over on the right hand side of the page, logged in as myself. So a few things I want to talk about today, talking about bringing computer programming into the classroom, coding, and first of all, when we come to the Scratch, Scratch is that easy to learn, easy to use code website. We had talked about, we'd had this at a Tech 20 Tuesday last year, and I believe there was a session earlier in the year on this, but I'm going to just revisit some of it and introduce some new things. First of all, coming to the Scratch site at the beginning, it gives me a view of some projects going on right now, some updates and things like that. But we're going to go right now to the Create button. We're going to click on that, and that brings me to my coding interface. Sometimes you'll see a screen like this. That just takes a second for it to load, and we are here. And the first thing is right at the top, we'll see this Tips section. And if I click on that, a little window pops in from the right and says Tips. And the first thing I would go to is the step-by-step intro. And if I just click on that, it gives me just that, step by step. There's a little animation, shows me what to do, and directions. And so what I can do is I see that it says 1, start moving. Drag a move block into the script area, then click on that block to make the cat move. So I will click on this tips box. Actually, I'm going to click on my scripts. I want to get rid of the tips here. It's just off my screen a little bit. Let me just, oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to click that. And so I'm in the motion box, and I'm going to grab a move 10 steps, drag that block in, just as it said, and I'll click on it to watch my cat move. And then just over on the right, the tips section hasn't completely slid off the screen, so I'm just going to click it again. It'll slide in. And I was on, step by step. And down at the bottom, I have this little arrow down here. I'm just going to click the arrow, and it takes me to the second step. And this whole step by step, there are, well, let's just kind of scroll through them here a little bit. I think there's 10 or so steps, and they introduce you to a number of blocks and concepts. And it's quite easy to follow, and it's there on the website. This is kind of the introductory point. If you don't use scratch cards, this is another option for starting a class. I've done this as a whole class activity, grade 5s, and within 30 minutes we had gone through all the steps, and everyone had had some success at creating some code. And it actually gets a little bit more complex, right? Adding more blocks, adding more bits, and sorry, I'm just lost my train of thought here. And so it gets a little more complex, and they get to experiment a little bit, and it's a great introduction. So that's kind of the intro part. Now there's other ways you can introduce it. You can use the scratch cards, as have been mentioned before, and I'll put a link for the scratch cards on the Tech 20 website. But every time I'm done, I just close this, and then I will do a step, and then I'll click on it again, and it brings it back out. So they can go back and forth doing those. Now, once they've got the basics of from the tips section or scratch cards, however you do it, then they want to get into creating some projects of their own. Now, one of the best ways to create a project is to find one that you like and remix it, make it your own. So I'm just going to adjust my screen here a little bit. I'm just off a hair. Okay. Now, I'm logged in, but I will show you my when I'm logged in here, actually, and every student can have this and every teacher can have this. When you're logged in, it shows you my stuff. And basically that's your portfolio or your collection of things that you're working on. And we can see down here that I have different projects. And I also have this one that I made called the Impatient Cow Knock Knock Joke. And I'll just play it for you. And it goes through, says knock knock, and if you're familiar with the impatient cow or the other impatient animal knock knock jokes, you'll get this. And that's all fine and dandy, but the beauty in this is this see inside button, that once I click that, if I see a project I like, then now I have a view of, actually I can't quite see it here. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. You can see the code that is creating the action that I see. And as I click on each sprite here to the left, I've clicked on the cow, I can see here's the code that the cow follows. This is the script. Wait 0.5 seconds, say knock knock, and so on. When I click on the script of, well, I guess that's me, there's a kind of a married or corresponding piece of code that says it starts off by waiting 4 seconds, saying who is there, responding to the joke. And that's great. Not that a knock knock joke is necessarily within the curriculum, but what we've done is we can take, with this particular class that I worked with, we turned this into a French dialogue. And it was 2 characters. They created their own sprites, or they found their own sprites that they wanted to use. They've changed their backdrops, and they created a dialogue that is more to their curriculum. So they were discussing, I think it's introducing themselves or asking questions, and they take out the who is there and type in bonjour, comment ça va, that type of thing. So it quickly becomes a different project. And this could be, it could be people asking vocabulary questions, it could be anything, it could become kind of a little quiz thing. But then once I see this code, then I'm able to copy it and remix it. So when I come to this, you see that I've based it on the duck knock knock joke. And what you will see is that there's 0 remixes at this point. No one's actually taken it and done anything with it, but people are able to find projects they like, grab the code that they like, and recreate something of their own. So that's one way. Now, another project I will just share with you is geometry. So here's the Scratch Cat again, and you'll notice in the instructions it says click the space bar to see Scratch draw a square. So I'm going to press my space bar, and there he goes, draws a square. Great. Click the right arrow to see Scratch draw a square. Same thing, sort of. This square is kind of on its edge. It's still a square. Looks more, someone might say a diamond. But we look at that. So now we've created some geometric shapes using Scratch. Again, I would look inside here, and if I can move this over, you'll see that we're using coordinates based on the 0, 0 axis and going to different points, 0, 100, 100, 100, x of 100, and 0. And so that is the first one, the space bar. Right? If I hit space bar, there he goes, going to all those coordinates and drawing a shape using this pen command. On the other hand, I'm using different properties. I know that the sides have to be equal and they're 90-degree turns, and I want 4 sides, so I use a little repeat a loop to do the same type of thing. And at that point, students can start to look at what they know about different geometric shapes and adjust this code to create rectangles, to create circles, triangles, whatever it is. So that's another idea. So once they've learned the basics, they can start exploring with different projects that they see, manipulating the code to create their own. And that's kind of one of the really nice features of the new Scratch 2.0 or the online version, is that there's an ability to share projects online and remix. So now, in terms of classroom management, I'm just going to go back to my stuff here. And one of these features, one of the new features I'd like to show is My Studios. And Studio is, I guess in terms of our classroom use, think of a studio as a Dropbox or a folder where students could place their work. So what would happen is we've had students create their own accounts using their MBSS emails, and I have the link, I believe, on the Tech20 site here. If I can just bring that up. Tech20 Tuesday. Oh, there we are. Creating a Scratch account. The link is right there, so it takes you the step-by-step how to create accounts. And if I can bring back my Scratch site right here. So I would create all the students would create accounts, and then they would become followers. So for example, I would look up a teacher, and I just happen to know one that's using it, and I would search that teacher or one of their projects, and then what you'll see when that comes through momentarily, anytime now, there we go. When I click on this teacher or project, you see that I have a follow button. And that's what I would have the students do. I would have them follow a teacher. So a teacher creates an account, the students create an account, and then they can follow their teacher. And what that allows them to do, or what that allows the teacher to do, is, if I go back to Studios here, when I have a studio created, this is my Dropbox, we have a tab over here called Curators. And curators, just like in an art gallery or an art studio, are people who can add work or bring work to the studio. Well, I would add my students as curators to this particular studio. And I have an option down here, to invite curators. And then I would choose Scratchers following me. And that would be all the students that are in my class. They would have all their accounts. I would see them all here because they would all be following me. And then I could invite them to become curators of that studio. They would take their projects, their remixes, or brand new projects, and add them to this studio. And then I would have samples of their work online that'd also be able to embed those in a website if I had a web page going for my class, or just share directly with links. So that is kind of one of the new features for classroom management, just talking about creating studios and curators and having students add to them. Now, I have so much to do and so little time. What's next on my list? Okay, so that's curators, that's create, my stuff. Okay, I should mention when I go to my stuff, students can only, they would only be able to add projects to a studio if they share them. So for example, I'll go back to my impatient cow joke, and I should be able to see somewhere here that I have shared this. Let me go back to see inside. I'm missing that page. Maybe it's because I've already shared it. Because I can go back to my stuff, you'll see that this one is not shared, and neither is this one. Now, because they're not shared, I don't have this Add To button that you would see in these two projects. So in order for me to drop a piece of my work or submit a piece of work into a studio, I have to share it first. And then once I've clicked share here, I will see an add to box, and then I will see the studios that I am a curator of. So I can add this to my family or dialogue, and then it would show up in that studio for everyone to see. So that was one additional piece there. Now, just while we are on the topic of code, I would like to bring everyone's attention to a site called code.org. And if you haven't seen this already, there's a very neat video here. There's actually, I think, 3 versions of it. There's the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 9 minute version with various coders, actual real life people in the industry, some celebrities. You'll see Bill Gates, Chris Bosch, people like that, talking about the importance of coding. But the other part that I would like to point out is this hour of code. And this is a part of Computer Science Education Week in December from the 9th to the 15th. And it's a project to introduce code to students. And if I just go down here, it says, what's an hour of code? They provide a number of tutorials that students can use. You can do them as whole class, you can do them individually. There are options for not only Scratch, but other programs. There are resources for people who don't have computers, or you want to do it without computers, just teaching the concepts of logic and sequencing and things like that. And if you click on any one of these, you will see a number of codes. I was actually doing a little programming with Angry Birds characters, but there are different ones that you can try right on the site. You see one, here's JavaScript. The first one was unplugged, means no computer. And apps for any device. Then you'll see different ones for, I think there's ones for Android and ones for iPods or iPads, things like that. And there's a whole section for educators so that you can actually do coding with your class. You can sign up. They have a, let me go back, see if I can find it. I've lost it. I have to go back to the very beginning. Right here. You can sign up and participate in this program. And you can do it at any point in time. There's no set hour of any particular day. And I think it'd be a very neat idea that would fit into a lot of different curriculum. So that's my plug for Computer Science Week and an hour of code. Back to Scratch. I think I wanted to mention studios and introduce it, but right now I think what I'll do is, if you have a question, because there's only, I see 2 minutes left, I want to finish on time so everyone can get home. If you have a question, feel free to open your mic and ask away. No questions. Excellent. While I see a microphone has opened up.
Hey, Waylon.
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. I'm well. Getting by here.
Um, I just give it more of a point, I guess, than anything else. When I introduced this with my kids, one of the students in my class um, showed a basic page on learning how to code, and all of the kids took a page on Chrome, like Google or something like that, and messed around with it and looked at the guts of it. And it really kind of set them on fire about coding and what it is, and they had a better understanding of what all of those little letters meant and each thing.
Okay, yeah. Some basic HTML.
Yeah,
Very
and
neat.
I'm trying to think of what the name of the site was, and of course I can't think of it right now, but it has all of these very short tutorials dealing with basic HTML. So I guess it was a bit of a bridge for my kids between regular coding and Scratch.
And just to see what's behind the closed doors, eh?
Yeah.
Neat.
Anyway, if I think of it, I'll send it to you if you want to add it.
I would. I'll put that on the wiki site.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So, not seeing any more questions, I'll just remind people that everything is recorded and will be on the Tech 20 Tuesday website. Right now, under the 2013-14 sessions, the Scratch page is there. I've added how to create a Scratch account, also a link to Scratch Ed, which is kind of a great site for teachers to find resources, curriculum related. And this video will be posted there as well. So thank you. Maybe I have a question here. Oh no, just lots of thank yous. You're more than welcome, and I hope to see you next week on Tech 20 Tuesday.